If you play games on Steam or are into world-building games in general, chances are you've already heard plenty about Godus, the game that lets you be the god of your own little world. Following in the footsteps of earlier God game Populous, developer Pierre Molyneux brings us a unique, visually elegant experience to the iOS platform, and it does translate well from the PC to iPad. It's a beautiful, stunning game. Unfortunately, there's not much else to it. You start your journey as a not-quite-uber deity by rescuing a few people, called your followers, from rising ocean waters. It's the beginning of a fairly thorough and intuitive tutorial that continues on to show us how to sculpt the land, to both create our world and aid those living in it. We then learn about building abodes, homes, the belief system, and how upgrades work. The upgrade system itself is unique, at least visually, a way of obtaining cards and then discovering their components throughout your world, which are usually found in chests. Unfortunately, as soon as this tutorial is finished, you're set out to manage your world all on your own and let your creative juices flow. Truth is, there's not much to do there, nor is there enough creative freedom to really engage you. This is more about sculpting, taking away land, removing trees and rocks, and though doing so actually costs some of your power, which I'll get to later. But if you're a fan of iOS games like Supernauts, where you actually create objects instead of mold existing one, you may feel a little handcuffed here. Rather than putting together materials to build homes, castles, bridges, and just about any other building, object, or shape, you are more or less scrubbing away the land or stretching and expanding it. So when it comes to building things like homes and trees, they are pre-designed, so you just point and click and it's created for you. And this lack of ability to truly create in the way that other world-building games let you may be the second biggest downfall of Godus. The previously mentioned, of course, is the lack of things to do. It does get rather uninspiring to know that as a god, your powers are limiting to zapping away trees, reshaping mountains, and creating rivers and ponds. Oh, I should mention that at an early level, you'll be able to drag your followers around by leashing them, which is kind of a weird thing. But you can take voyages to other islands and result in mini-games that test your problem-solving skills, but they don't really let you display much ingenuity or creativity. It's basically just get your followers from point A to point B by sculpting and shaping the land and avoiding bad guys who will crush them with a big mallet. And I have to admit, I got a little bit of pleasure out of watching that happen sometimes. Of course, your followers do die if that happens, and you may have to start all over again. Unfortunately, between these voyages, you have to build up more followers, and the downtime or cooldown is excessively long. If you're watching this video, you may notice at the beginning, if I moused over where our port is, or dock, or what have you, it said 1 hour and 10 days, and the last voyage I had taken was the day before. So we're talking something in the neighborhood of 2 days before I can go on a mini voyage and do something fun. Anyways, there are hidden chests throughout your world that once uncovered and opened give you resources to help complete the cards you've obtained. These cards include the ability to build shrines, increase housing capacity, farm, collect resources, and so on. Unfortunately, the pace at which you discover these cards, see your population grow, and the construction of new buildings is so slow, you'll find a lot of downtime. And in a game with no real ongoing goals, tasks, or action, idle time is pretty deadly. So to be completely blunt, I think most players will be bored out of their minds very quickly, and that's even if you choose to purchase gems to speed things along. As I discovered playing this game, that sculpting and shaping the land is fun, but as I mentioned, it's not quite the world building that you expect in other games. You have to sort of work with what's given you. You can't sort of create hills and mountains. You just take what's there and move them around, shift them. And of course, early on, you're limited to the depth that you can actually sculpt. So if you notice as I'm panning around in this video, anything underwater or the very lowest levels of these buildings, you won't sort of have access to sculpt. The higher levels are closer to the surface, at least in the water, you can, but once you get down to sort of the dark blue area, you can't move anything. So you can't sort of just take this world and create one massive, giant, Asia, Europe, and Australia or something all mixed into one. You're kind of limited to this little area, and the voyages are kind of a one-off when you take your villagers or your followers to a new land, you basically settle them there, then come back here, and you never see them again unless you go on another voyage. So the voyages to other islands don't actually become a part of your world. They're just a mini game that comes and goes, and you get the resources or power that comes along with accomplishing the task. But after that, that's pretty much it. Now, I do know that there's more to the game as you get higher level. There's more skills and more things you can do. Unfortunately, to get there means a lot of waiting around. So it's one of those games where you log in, click on all the homes to collect the power, maybe take a few villagers, move them around to build a new home. If the timer is up on your voyages, take another voyage, will take a couple of minutes, and come back and sort of stare at things. You just don't have that creative freedom that we expect in a game like this, especially considered that you're supposed to be a god. And in this game, I found that you're an incredibly weak god. So that's about it for the review. The rest of this video, I'll just go over some of the things that I've uncovered in a few days of gameplay. You'll feel free to keep watching. I'll try to point out as much as I can in the video. A lot of it, I think, is somewhat self-explanatory. I'll click on things like cards here just to show you what they mean. To give you an idea, but really this video is about 10 minutes long, and as I was creating it, I was bored in about 30 seconds. So perhaps that's all you need to know about a game like Godus. So take care, and thanks for watching.